Well, g'day everybody. Been a while since I've been here, but this is going to be a bit of fun, I think. It's basically virtual Golden Globe race for dummies. You all know about virtual gaming on computers. How'd you like to sit behind a computer for about 8 months playing a silly little game? Anyway, this is no ordinary game. It's actually a world first. And right now, if I'm clever enough with this system that I haven't used for a long time, I'm going to bring up, first of all, Pablo, who is the founder of Real Sale. Where did he go? Oh, here he is. G'day, Pablo. How are you?
Hey, Don. How are you, my friend? Good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in Les Sables d'Olonne right now. Let's just tell people where you are and what you do for fun, like virtual games.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adventure, you know. I started loving sailing, and I'm coming from the technical world, and it's great to build this kind of game of feeling the real sailing, you know.
Yeah, okay, real sailing. We'll talk about that. It's virtual sailing. Anyway, so where are you? You're in Portugal, right?
No, I'm in Spain, northern Spain. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Spain. You can, yeah, that's a cool place as well. But anyway, okay. So now I'm gonna the next guy I'm gonna bring in here is here we go, Darius. You should pop up any minute. There he is. Ooh, technology's working. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing fine.
That's cool. Now your grand title for this chat is a gamer. You're one of the sailors that's turned into virtual gaming, and you've used this system. So what got you into gaming first? Because I know you're a sailor. I've been watching, since I've known you in the last month or so, I've been watching some of your posts on Facebook. So
yes, I like the normal sailing, but of course I don't get often the chance to make real long trips, and with the virtual sailing you have the possibility to sail around the world and to make trips and use all the weather systems, and that's really interesting to do. And that's how I got to the virtual sailing, and started a few years ago, of course, with the Volvo Ocean Race. It was really the starting point.
Yeah, okay. So I'll throw my cards on the table. I've never ever played a virtual game, right? And years ago, when World Sailing took it on and said, "No, we're going to do virtual sailing," there was a whole bunch of people said, "You got to be kidding me! You should be focusing on real sailing." But of course, it's taken off, and Les Sables d'Olonne, GGR, Vendée Globe. We're living in the heart of solo sailing for the whole world, and like 1 million people playing a game called the Vendée Globe, which is insane. So there's something in it. And, that's how we all got to talk about what's going on. Because I thought, okay, we had a bit of a play with virtual game in the last edition of the GGR, 2018, but it certainly wasn't 1 million players. So Pablo, when we started talking, the whole idea was, I said, okay, look, I'm up for it, but I want to make it look more like the real GGR. So before we get into that, tell me, what got you into creating a game for firstly, like another virtual game, and what do you perceive to be different about Real Sail?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love sailing, so I was wondering how to create races, real races, but sailing from home, and also to try to sail in real conditions anywhere in the world, and create races all around the world in any spot. So we created this game in order to let the community and let all the skippers that are sailing now to feel the experience of sailing anywhere in the world, but in real conditions, And we have a real wind, real forecast, the real boats, real class boats and polars and so on. So we try to create the real sailing experience, but sailing from a device or a PC or a mobile device or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so you're obviously passionate about it, but one thing I learned a long time ago: if you can't compete, you specialize, right? And it's hard to compete when someone's got 1 million players. so there must be, and you're doing pretty well. Like you haven't been around for a long time, but you're getting quite a solid following now. What makes it different? What was the hook? What's the point of difference? And don't worry, Darius, I'm going to ask you in a minute because you're probably more hands-on. We're talking to the creator here or the founder, but yeah, let's get it from him first. Why are you different? What's the key elements?
Yeah, I think the origin of the game, was listening to the community. We created the game from the community. All the feedback all the community was sharing feedback, was sharing features, requests, and so on. So we created this game as the community wanted, so to try to build the game they want, So first of all, this is one of the big things that we are different for other platforms, And the other thing is that our developers are really smart guys who are, always trying to be so innovative. So we have an accurate show line, so coming from the NASA, or we have created this way of sailing, this real sailing of celestial navigation in a virtual sailing game. So I mean, the smart developers are making a very good job, and this is one of the big things. We are being so innovative.
Yeah, I got to say, we'll talk about what makes this a world first, and it is really quite cool. A few people that have been catching on to the idea, completely blown away on what we're able to achieve in this game. So we'll get into that in a minute. But Darius, why? I mean, I'm a sailor, and I get it when you're on a tiller and you're sailing. You do all this stuff. Just walk us, because this is for dummies. This talk that have never sailed a virtual game before. Talk us through. What do you do to steer? Do you hit the S key to steer right or left, or what do you do to change sails? How do you change a sail? Things like that. Where's the weather interface to work out whether you're going to bear away or whatever? How's that side of the real simple side of working a game?
Well, you on the screen you see your boat and you see the wind and you see your future track. So you see where you're going and where your boat is going in the next 6 to 8 hours. So you can see if you will hit the land in a few hours or if you're going in the right direction. And what you do is you plan your changes in direction, or your let's say your changes in the TWA or heading or where you're going, and that's how you steer the boat. And of course, you can steer your rudder with plus and minus and go a little bit more to starboard or to port. That's also possible, but it's a tactical game, so you have to think ahead. Where do I want to be in 6 hours? Where will the wind be? When do I want to tack?
Okay, so the wind program, you get your forecast every 6 hours, but if the wind changes direction, it's real-time live weather. So, if the wind changes 45 degrees, during that 3 hours later, you're going to go screw around and completely go off track, right? Or the weather stays the same for the next 6 hours. So you set it up and go to work and do nothing.
The weather will continuously change with the forecast. So it will slightly or continuously turn if your weather is changing. And you can see what will happen because of the track that you have or your future, your predicted line, so to say. So you can see where you will be going if you do nothing.
Yeah, and so you should really, if there's the wind change or you think the weather's unstable or you can predict that there's going to be a big shift or something in the next 3 or 4 hours, you really need to be checking into your computer every hour to keep ordering course. Otherwise, you're going to screw off.
When the weather is really light and unpredictable, then you have to be there a lot of times, because then it can be quite tricky. If the weather is like constant, then you can let it go for a few hours. However, if you get a wind update that comes every 6 hours, and you can get a change of 10 or 15 or more degrees, so you really have to take care about the wind updates.
So say you get a forecast there. You don't get the next 24-hour forecast, but could someone get on like Predict Wind or Windy TY or something, and then look at where they are and look at what the forecast is, 5 hours ahead or something, and use the off-screen weather forecast? Say, shit, I got to go to work for the next 3 hours. I think I'll dial in a wind shift then.
No, you can see in the game. You can play fully in the game. You don't need Predict Wind or anything, because you work with the weather model. And of course, you can get the same weather model also in Predict Wind or in other tools to see it as well. But you can play it in the game. So there's no need to use other platforms to steer the boat.
Yeah.
So when you say the weather, you can.
Yeah, it offers you a forecast, a 1 hour forecast, and you can select, you can see what is going to happen in the upcoming hours, so you can define your strategy and you can define what path to track. Yeah.
Okay, so you can actually, when you get that weather forecast, that's just an update, but you can still call up 3 hours ahead, 4 hours ahead.
1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour.
So it's exactly the same. Okay, I'm starting to get it now. Okay, so you can do your same planning as if you're on your boat. You can steer the boat normally. You can sheet the sail in and out like normal deal. You know, you can crank the sail in, bring it hard. You know, all that sort of stuff. So it's really like sailing a yacht, right?
Yeah. But instead of you doing the calculations, the game will do you the interpolation, and you will get all the information about the forecast and so on, and you will define your strategy and your path. Yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty much like normal sailing. I get it now. I'm a bit less than the average dummy now. But the interesting part is, so you're going to do that for the next 8 months, right? With the GGR. Yeah. So that sounds a bit boring because every day will be the same, unless you have to work out where you are.
yes, that's a big difference.
So normally on a game, you've got the big chart. You know exactly where you are. You drop in some waypoints like you've got an autopilot, and you just go there, and then you go to work and forget it, right?
Yes, that's possible then, yeah.
That's a normal game. Okay, so Pablo, this is where it gets really interesting for me, and you completely blew me away from this. Pablo gets to me, and we're talking about what we can do and how we can do it, and me not knowing anything about it. I say, well, geez, wouldn't it be good to just, for a start, throw in left field and say, we don't want GPS, you know, get a sextant out, just as a bit of a joke. And Pablo says, oh, hang on a minute. And so you go away, and 1 week later, you come back and say, hey, we got a way that we can actually bring in real-time live, and I'll drop this thing and I'll find an image in here, real-time live stars, right, yeah. With horizons, and you can have any of the stars, this, that, and the other, and you can effectively have a sextant and take an altitude, lock it into a clock, and actually tabulate your position exactly the same as you would using a sextant on a yacht. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct. I mean, the idea is to follow the spirit of the race, you know. So we try to. This is one thing we have done, you know, the celestial navigation, and it works like in real life, you know. You will find your map of stars in your current position. You will select some stars to do the calculations, you know, and maybe 2 stars, 3 stars, and then you have a nautical chart in the game, so you can create all the lines to see where they cross and so on, and find your current position. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, I've already seen it, and this is what completely blew me away, because it's exactly the same as what I used to do a long time ago, right? You make an assumed position, and then you do all your tabulations and put all your corrections in and all that stuff, and you get a distance from or to your assumed position, and you can do a morning sight, you can do an evening. It's completely crazy.
Yeah.
That thing, I got it straight away because it's not the virtual game.
And we made it. We tried to make it as simple as possible, you know. So we have a tutorial for this, and if you follow the tutorial, you will get your current position exactly, you know, with the GJ and USHA and so on. Yeah.
Before we get into this, don't fear, everyone, all you dummies out there that have never played a virtual game and have never ever lifted up a sextant and know nothing about celestial navigation. Don't worry. You can actually have a GPS, right? This is an option. But when you're in a GPS, you actually then go to what we call the Chichester class. And if you know anything about the GGR, normally Chichester class means you've stopped somewhere or you've broken one of the rules or something. And it means you're not entitled to get any trophies at the end, but you're still in the game, in the real GGR. So that's the same deal. So what we've got here now is, don't fear. You don't have to learn celestial navigation. But if you're ever interested in it, this is unbelievable. You can go out and get your books, do your stuff, and you can really practice everything on this game and actually get your positions and so on. And that completely, you know, it was just like mind-boggling for me. And I see that as something really amazing. That's what makes this a world first game, you know, like no one else has got it. And I can guarantee you at some stage other people are going to copy it. It won't be for 1 million people following the Vendée because it's too quick. You know, they couldn't get sextants tightened on. But it's a really cool idea. So, well done for developing that.
We have built some races, some test races, you know, some months ago and some weeks ago just to test it, you know, and the community is really engaged, you know. Some of them, they are retired people, veterans, you know, and they are really enjoying how to sail with celestial navigation, and they share their experiences in the chat, and they say, that's amazing. I used to sail like this, you know, when I was in the Marine and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really wild. I just, I just want to tell the world now, because there is a huge resurgence just in the deal with celestial navigation, and the GGR started a lot of that as well. There's this big resurgence, and this is a way to pull the whole thing together. So I've got another screen here. Darius, you might want to explain. This is a typical screen. It's not the wild graphics, because other people will have seen the graphics of boats sailing across the ocean and all that sort of stuff. But just walk us through this one, Darius.
This is what
I'm going to just hide. I'll just hang on. I'm just going to make it a bit bigger in the screen, I hope.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of. Hang on a sec. Where are we here? Just so people can see it. I'm going to stop the video on Pablo and then stop the video on me, and it's all yours now.
Okay. Well, in the picture you can see what we just discussed. To see the course line where you will be in the future, and you see where you will be in 1 hour, in 2 hours, or in 3 hours. And on the bottom you see your windrows with your polar, with the speed of the boat for each of the wind angles, and your current speed, speed on the ground, and things like that. And on the right side you can change your sails, and in this race for the GGR you have to do all your sail changes manual, so there's no possibility to have auto sail, because that's not possible. So, but
that's cheating.
That's cheating. Yes, exactly. So you need to know when you need to change your sails, and you can plan it ahead. So you don't need to be awake. You can say, I want to change from jib to gennaker in 3 hours. That's okay. And I want to change course then, but you cannot say, I want to go 270 and please change the sails when it's needed. So that's not possible.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
For the rest, so that's let's say the difference, and you see the big black circle. So this is what you see. It's about 50 nautical miles. So if you have a ship next to you, you would see it, or a few ships close to you, you can see what they're doing, but you don't see what the rest is doing, and you don't see land.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. Listen, I'm going to once again here. I'm going to try and. Anyway, So okay, so we're covered off on the game. The game side is sort of normal, but we've got extras in there, as you were saying. We've blocked some of the features to make it harder. But then Pablo and I, snowballing ideas, said, look, I want breakdowns. Give me breakdowns, because that's what happens in the real GGR. And so I said, look, here's the deal. Every 7 days there's going to be a problem. And as soon as there's a problem, like imagine if your halyard breaks and the sail drops to the deck. So you've got a halyard failure. The boat is going to slow down by 50% because you've only got one sail. And if a guy's at work or sleeping and not looking at his computer, the boat immediately goes to 50%, okay? And until he comes back on the screen to check that the boat's okay. And when he does, he hits a fix button and it's recovered again and he's sailing. And that's going to happen at random at any time, so not across the game, so they can't talk to each other, right? And I find that really cool because it just means those that are checking in all the time, like in the GGR, they're not going to be held back by that. And so we have halyard failures, we have the sheet breaking, we have the wind vane gear failing. When a wind vane gear fails, you stop, basically, because you stuff. And other little challenges, which we won't tell them about too much, that will make a difference. So that's once a week at any time during the week. And so you'll get, all sorts of dramas there. People will be really pissed off because there are other guys that the halyards haven't broken. They keep sailing. And that brings up another point. You want to tell your mates. So all of the gamers can speak to everyone else, right?
Yes.
What do you call that?
Yeah, there is a Discord server where we can chat, and here you can reach any of the players. So they will have a name on the game, and they have a name in the server. And there's a lot of discussions ongoing and ideas, and if there's a bug or if there's a problem, this is all discussed. But you can also directly text one of them and say, hey, you got a problem, or you're on the wrong course, or you're grounded.
We are always online. We are always online and try to be somewhat responsive. And if someone has an idea, a great idea, we listen to it and try to be responsive and have it as soon as possible, And also, if there is any bug or anything that is not working, we try to solve it as soon as possible. This is one of the differentiators, I think, of Real Sail.
Yeah, okay, and you got to sleep too. So we got 4-hour sleep sessions, 2 4-hour sleep sessions a day.
You're right.
That the player has to declare when they're asleep, and once they're asleep, that's it. They can't break in and keep playing. So if they pick the wrong time to go to sleep and there's a big wind shift, whatever, they're in trouble. And I kind of like all that stuff. And if you hit the coast, you don't just sort of, I hit the coast, bad luck. You're out of the game. You go to Chichester class, right? So there's navigation defaults. And so to me, this was another cool thing, Pablo, with the whole game is it just gets you physically and emotionally involved for like 8 months. You can't stop. So I don't know. We're probably cutting our own throat here because I don't think, a lot of people, it's going to be very interesting to see who can cope from start to finish.
Yeah, we have a race. The last race was from Lanzarote to Antigua. It was a 20 days race, and the community was really engaged. I mean, they were really competing to each other. Darius won that race, and he can tell you about how was the competition and how really engaged were the people sharing in the chat the comments and experiences. And hey guys, how is it going? And 8 months is long, but I mean the competition is going to be really really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is that the way we're going to work this, there will be an interface between the gamers and the real tracking page of the GGR. In other words, we have a Yellowbick tracking page, and we had like over 1 million hits and stuff like that during the course of the race. It'd be a big following. The leader of the game we're going to interface that to the real tracker. So there'll be one proud person running around the course from the virtual GGR on the actual tracker, and vice versa. We'll have some of the entrants will be on the virtual Golden Globe race page. So that's cool. And then everyone will be racing for exactly the same trophies, right? Which will be beautiful models of Joshua and same plaques and all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Okay, Darius, you're obviously going to be a gamer when it's happening. What is the most, from your perspective, being an experienced gamer, what's the most exciting thing about the GGR, the virtual GGR, versus the other games? Like the other games that Real Sail are running.
I think this that you have to do your navigation by yourself really brings a new dimension, because you can make mistakes, and a mistake is done quickly. And then you can be 20, 30 miles off, or maybe more, that you don't know, that you think you're in a different position than you really are. And that will influence your planning. So you might make the wrong choice based on getting yourself in the wrong position.
Yeah, it's not only navigation, it's being the weather as well. Because if you're in the different spot, you're going to get different weather.
Exactly, yeah. So, of course, if you do it for a longer time, you will get more handy and practical in getting your position right. And also you can sail Dead Reckoning for a period of time, of course, because you know where you are, and it remains practical. You don't need to get a star shot every 2 hours to know where you are. So it's not that bad. But the good news, or something like that, you need to get some.
The good news is we're not a bunch of bad guys as being the race committee. So every 7 days we reboot your position with an update that's GPS. In other words, every 7 days you'll work out how bad your navigation is.
Yeah, and it's interesting for the estimation, for the estimated position you use for the
absolutely
navigation. So yeah,
I mean, how cool is that? You get to keep up with your DR positioning. If there's no stars around, you can see how accurate your DR is.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to practice your real celestial navigation. We haven't really dwelled on the weather, and this is interesting because I know the actual entrance. We got 26 GGR entrants in the 22 edition of the race. Last year, they followed the weather very closely on Windy TY, just without a boat. There was a couple of guys running a routing program to position a fake boat going around and just watching the weather systems, right? Yeah, and I'm telling them now, you should get onto this and actually play the game. Yeah, and you get to practice your weather. They'll see the weather going around, and it's real-time weather, so you'll see what to expect. Plus, you get to practice your navigation as well, which is kind of interesting. And if you get lazy, we'll just go Chichester class and get the GPS and just so you play the game simply, even if you're not interested in winning, but you'll see the real-time weather again, which is cool.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. All the year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In the Chichester class, you can also see the stars, so you can still make your test
exactly.
your skills
Yeah,
when
you're
you
not
have the time in the weekend.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're getting to the stage now where we're creating more interesting people. Rather, we're not all dummies. I feel already as if I've learned a couple of things there. So why don't we'll just play the video again? You know, the video of the promo video, and see what we do. So I'm going to block you guys out again, and I'll probably block me out as well. Maybe if we can get it with the full screen, I'll show this in the screen first. And then I've got to find me, block me, and then we'll just watch this video run. Okay, I've just got to find me now. I'm here somewhere. There I am. Okay, so that's all pretty cool. So the website, where are they gonna go to on the website? There's more of an introduction of what's happening, and then you can log in and you can play it. It's in. I mean, everyone's listening to this in English, but it's in Spanish, German, French, Italian. Is that it? In English,
Dutch,
and Dutch as well. Yeah. Well, Mark Slatz will love that. Mark will be in there. You know, I don't think he's doing 22. In fact, I think absolutely not. But anyway, he can play the game. So that's really cool. I think we're just about done. Anything particular you wanted to bring up on this? And, you know, in fact, we forgot the most important thing, and I'll publicise this later. The first trial run of the whole race starts on September the 4th, right?
No, it's September the 12th. September the 12th.
That's right. I said, we needed to gap to let people see this and then think about it and get our press release out on the whole thing and think. So September the 12th
that's right.
is the virtual GGR 2021.
Yeah, the leg one. Yeah, from Les Sables d'Olonne to Lanzarote.
Yeah, perfect. So people can get into that, because what we discussed this before. If you want to do the real virtual GGR 2022, you're going to have to do a qualifier actually before you can get to sign on to the race. So you've got a year to do a qualifier, some other part of a race, just so we know that you're actually up for it. Seriously, you know, because we're hoping to get big partners for this race, and if we do, we'll make bigger prizes. But at the moment, it's beautiful model of Joshua. You know what I mean? That's the trophy, same as the GGR. So okay, so people can join this next one and have a play down to the Cape Town film drop. So that's a bit of fun.
Yeah, sure. And also, it would be great. I mean, as I told you, you know, there are lots of veterans, sailors, keepers sailing with us. You know, they have a lot of time to be calculating, you know, the celestial navigation and so on. So it would be great to have, you know, the veterans of the GGR sailing with that. You know, Jean-Luc or Sir Robin or whatever. It would be great to
Yeah. Okay, now I'm glad you used the word veterans, because what's old? Old is just, you know, where does old cut in, you know? But anyway, I can still program a VCR, you know, one of those video cassette recorders. It's okay. I'm not that far dummy gone, but anyway. Okay, so that's all really cool, guys. And thank you very much for explaining it to me. It's kind of interesting, and I'm still an out there kind of person, but at some point along the line, I will definitely get in there and have a play. And in the meantime, I'm going to spread the word, because it's the world first. It's really cool. You're going to really sail the boat under a wind vane. You know, no autopilots like the other games. It's a wind vane that's going to follow the wind. So you got real-time navigation with Celestial. If you can't run into the coast or run into rocks, you've got breakdowns, you know, everything from wind vanes to halyards to sheets to torn sail, you know, all that sort of stuff. You got to fix up. Have to declare your sleep time. When you're asleep, you're not going to touch anything, so you better sleep at the right time. And it's just a truckload of fun, and it's absolutely going to change the face of normal gaming. This is not your normal game. I'm convinced of that. This is for real people that want to have a real physical, emotional, and computer challenge in for 8 months.
Yeah.
There's nothing that big in the gaming world. So let's see how many people we get. Will be interesting.
Yeah.
We should get 1,000,001. I reckon. What do you reckon, Darius? How many are we going to get? 1,000,001 or 1,010,000?
I hope not too many, because otherwise my chances will go down.
Okay, you're cooked. Yep. All right. So on that, I don't have an out video, but I got an out screen. So we slowly cut people off now, and we'll try and do this again. Sometime in the future, we'll get on and have another chat, and we'll get some feedback, and we'll talk to some more gamers that are actually doing it. Right. And just see what their experience is. So there's no, and we should try and we'll try and record something so people can follow the game. We'll do some sort of thing there. So yeah, it's not the last time we hear of Pablo and Darius and some of the other players. So thanks for that. Really appreciate it. We'll look forward to starting to play the game, eh?
Okay.
We are. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. I'll say goodbye and drop you one at a time. Thanks, Darius. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Maybe virtual gaming for dummies. I never thought I'd be supporting this kind of thing, because when it first came out with games, it was like, you've got to be kidding me. Why would you want to get on a computer and play a game? But I can honestly see some real benefits here. I mean, I'm still sailing, so that's fine. I don't know where I'm going to be there. I'm trying to run all these different races, and it's very exciting. So anyway, and we've got a GGR press conference coming up, so make sure you don't miss that. That's on Thursday at 10 o'clock France time. So we'll see you then. Thanks a lot, and all the best for now.